Today, we're talking about a wonderful new product that you've got out, and you always have wonderful products. I don't know how you come out with so many of them. It's fantastic. So, tell us about your latest one, or latest ones.
Well, well, the thing which I'd like to show you is an improvement, actually, Clive, rather than a new product. It's our pulsed EMF mat. This is the mat that we had until, well, we still have, but this was our previous Big Magic mat, which is nice, comfortable, reasonable size. And as time goes by, you start thinking, as one does, how can we make it better? Well, we made it better by making it larger. We made it so the field was deeper into your body. I've got the new mat here. Now I'm going to disappear. I'm going to disappear for a moment. But this is the big mat here. It's twice the size of the previous mat. We've managed to keep the magnetic flux density the same for the entire surface of the mat. But what we have done is we've redesigned the coils. The previous mat has got one large coil, and the field tended to flatten out. It didn't go up too high. So we've redesigned the coils to more orthodox circular coils and put multiple coils in the mat. So the field now extends further out into the body. It goes out to around 30, or your inches, aren't you? So that's 12 inches or a foot for most countries. They, yeah, it's 300 mils. It goes up above the surface. So we've got a larger surface area, and we've still retained the amount of magnetism that's there, but thrown it further out. It's kind of like a garden hose, Clive, where you can be watering your roses using a sprinkler setting, and you can screw the nozzle in a little bit and you can shoot it across the neighbour to get the neighbour's dog. The distance that the water goes is further. So the shape of the field is very important. I don't advise anyone to try the water experiment on dogs. Dogs don't deserve that usually. But this is the new design for the circuit board that we're using. It's got 20 coils in total. It's a close-up. I wonder if you can see that, Clive. It's the close-up of the coils. The coils are two-layer planar coils on a flexible PCB. It's a very large flexible PCB. So that's a very big improvement for the mat. Another thing is the feel. We're using a softer cover for the mat and also thicker foam. So it's more comfortable to sit on. The previous one was pretty good, but you can see it's thinner and the plastic feels a little bit firm. But here it's a very soft feel to this plastic, which is much better. So yeah, that's the new product. We're very excited about it. We've had positive feedback from a lot of people. A lot of people have got already the Big Magic, so you can buy the Big Mat just by itself as an upgrade. It fits straight into the existing Big Magic base unit, so there's no changes you need to do. But immediately you get the benefits of a larger area and greater intensity and a greater depth of the field. So yeah, another product that we are very proud of. Not a big new thing like we sometimes do. There are things which are coming up, but again, I can't really tell you what they are. But it's a very nice, quite a large incremental change. It's certainly a large improvement on the previous mat. So yeah, very convenient. I'm aware that when you go for a mat pulsed EMF system, you're immediately looking into the thousands of dollars or euros or pounds, whatever England is or was. But we've managed to keep the price down for the mat so people can afford it. I'm not sure what the final price was, but we made sure that it was as cheap as can be, without compromising, of course, anything in the way of quality. A good quality product, nice and comfortable, big, effective. It ticks pretty much all the boxes, so we're pretty proud of it.
Well, it's great to see it like that. That's very exciting. And what, how much control is there over the frequencies that are being generated by the coils? Can you sort of dial up certain things for certain people's issues? How does it work?
Now, the big magic unit gives a series of pulses which are entrained with the Schumann resonance of the globe. There's no different program facilities. We're using the program that was found by NASA with the astronauts going out into space to be the optimum pattern, that's the pulse pattern, and the optimum rate for treating people for a broad spectrum of conditions. So no, there's no no program option. There is an intensity option because some people are sensitive to magnetic fields, but they still want to resolve their health problems. So we have a high power and a low power option on the main unit. So it's nice and simple. With all our products in the MirrorMate range, the focus has been on keeping things as simple as possible. If we could have made the base unit with no switches, we would have done that. We want things you just plug it in and it goes, but we've got to have it on off. And then we thought, well, a power switch, that's going to be 2 switches. That's still doable. That's still nice and easy. So it gets the MirrorMate stamp of approval. So there's no software, no fiddling with buttons on the top. It's very basic.
Well, good. I like that actually. I just like on and off and more. So that's very good. So of the many conditions it could have benefit for, if you were to give your top 10 of, well, if you've got this condition or that condition, this is the sort of tool you need as opposed to other things. What are its top benefits, would you say?
Well, this isn't applicable to you and myself yet, but for older people when they get their sore joints, the aches and pains which come with enjoying one's twilight years, having one of these permanently running underneath your sheet will go a great way towards reducing or eliminating the damaged joints that you may have. The way that pulsed EMF works, and I'm sure you know, it actually works on several ways, but the most significant thing is energizing your cells. The mitochondria in your cells is like the battery, it's the powerhouse, the engine of your cells that provides the energy. Now, magnetic fields can pass through cells, and they induce an energy, an ever so small current in each of your cells. And your mitochondria harnesses that energy. And so it can be anything from torn ligaments, soft tissue damage, muscle injuries, bone injuries, joint issues, your cartilage, issues with cartilage, being worn as one gets older. Pulsed EMF devices can help with all those conditions. They can help with sleep, especially one that has got a greater penetration like this new mat. It can go past through your pillow to your brain and help induce sleep. Virtually all pulsed EMF units are good. Okay, I haven't really seen any bad one. I've seen a few that are a little bit underpowered, but that's the way they were. But most pulsed EMF devices are good. So we wanted one that's good but also affordable, one that people can actually buy without having to, mortgage their house, which is,
the last one I had was £4,500 or something, so $6,000 and it's just ridiculous cost. So if yours worked half as well, for what, a fifth of the price or less, that would be magnificent, really, because the results can be very spectacular from PEMF devices. I had one guy who laid down for about 8 minutes, and after 8 minutes, he says, "This is the first time I've lied down flat on my back in my life that I can remember." And I have no idea what the physiological action was that made this happen. But he when he laid down flat, he couldn't completely, he had an arch under his back. And suddenly he was lying flat. So I can't explain that, but I was just, oh my God, that's, I didn't see that one coming.
Yes, yes. No, pulse EMF devices are good. They're one of my favorite devices, Clive, because they are simple. You can't go wrong. You can't injure yourself with a pulse EMF device. You don't feel any sensation. You don't get any electric shocks if you're in contact mode. You can't hear it. It just quietly just works in the background. Oops, my computer's gone. Sorry. It just quietly does its job, which is really the ideal type of device. Now, if you're like me, Clive, you're probably a busy person and you don't really have much time to look after yourself. So, if with one of these underneath your sheets, you don't need to have to worry about turning things on and setting things up for the night. You just go to sleep in your bed, and it's a low power device, so it doesn't spin the wheel of the power meter. I know it's all smart meters now, isn't it? But it doesn't consume much electricity. It's less than small. It's tiny. It's pretty much insignificant. It's about the power of 2 watts continuous. 2 watts is just tiny, tiny, but it gives that energy in extremely short pulses. Each pulse that these mats put out are 100 microseconds. That's 100 millionths of a second in duration. And so each pulse itself is very strong, but averaged out is quite weak. Now, our bodies know how to use magnetic fields because we are bathed even before the start of the 19th century. The world has got a natural magnetic field, and we live in it, and we evolved in this field. The Schumann resonance, the 7.83 hertz, which does change slightly year by year and gets people excited, but that frequency, we started from single cell organisms and then evolved into being quite complex beings. Within this frequency, we need that pulse to be healthy. And they have done experiments, Clive, where either astronauts going out into space or people in Faraday cages, which are magnetically shielded rooms, so nothing goes in and goes out. Those people that were not exposed to this pulse of the Earth, they became ill, quite ill, with more of the chronic conditions that we associate with old age. And this is why the Russians developed this pulsed EMF pattern for their astronauts, because they wanted to spend a lot of time up there and they wanted their astronauts to remain healthy. They found that the muscular degeneration was reduced in rates when they're using pulsed EMF. The overall health of the astronauts was pretty much better than without a pulsed EMF, a lot better when they used the pulsed EMF. So the units they used to take up were like our mini magic in size, small little units like this. I should have brought one here, but never mind. And just a pair of coils. Very flexible because you can put one coil either side of your body part, and that's good for local treatment. But there was always the problem of long treatments overnight. You can't really use a machine that's got wires to your body overnight, especially if you're twist and turn during the night, you're going to end up in a figure eight. So this is where the mats really come on their own. The ideal, of course, Clive, the absolute ideal is to have a mini mate during the day. So if you've got a problem area, let's say you've got rheumatoid arthritis in a thumb joint, for example, you can put the coil here and go for intense treatments during the day or during lunch break or at some opportunity. Those treatments we recommend about half an hour minimum. That you can do it all day because you can't overdose in pulsed EMF. But nighttime, now you can go onto the mat and get a full body treatment. Because your blood is also subject to these healing pulses, your blood, the red blood cells don't clump together so much, they become more free. As each blood cell is free to move and isn't hard up against another blood cell, the surface area of your blood cells increases, which means your cells get more oxygen. Your body is now running more efficiently. So people may not have any symptoms as such, Clive, but they find that after, let's say, a week of having this underneath your sheets in bed, they'll suddenly think to themselves, well, yeah, I can actually go all the way up those stairs without stopping for a break. You know, they find that they've got just a little bit more energy. But what they may not realize is that, and that's on a macro level, but on a micro level, if your body has got inherently more energy in the cells, your body is better able to fight disease. And so it could well be thought as being a preventative type thing. If you've got nothing wrong with you, it's still lovely sleeping on a pulsed EMF mat, and there are zero side effects, there are zero risks, and it costs less than a penny a day, and there's only things to be gained. So to me, it's like a no-brainer. And yeah, it's one of those things where when you discover you've got a disease, quite often, Clive, you know, it might be too late, especially if it's a serious one. So you really want to knock things on the head before it even starts. And so if your body's needing energy, if your cells need that little bit of energy to help fight these pathogens that are invading your body and will soon shorten your lifetime, well, it's best to give your body the energy to fight these horrible little invaders.
Well, I quite agree. I mean, when I first found out about pulse electromagnetic frequencies, I saw a result with Parkinson's, which I thought was absolutely incredible. This was using a very, very big device. I'm not sure
Right.
how safe the very big was. This was a Papini, you know, $25,000 worth of device.
Beautiful
But
machine.
this
Yeah.
guy was shaking like mad, stopped
Yeah.
shaking in a couple of minutes. It was incredible.
Right. Right. It is incredible. The your nerves, pulse EMF can also repair nerves. So if you've got issues with, we've even had reports of people with tinnitus, which can be a nerve issue. It can also be in the brain, but we've had positive feedback from people that have had tinnitus and they use the pulse EMF device. So
But
it's
funnily enough,
very,
that was the next thing I wanted to ask you about, because from a neurological point of view, because I was so impressed with Parkinson's result.
yeah.
I was thinking, and also eyesight. Have you had experiences with eyesight improvement? Because I know that the PEMF mats are capable of that.
They are. We haven't had any, or to the best of my knowledge, we haven't, but I'm quite often behind the ball there because I'm so busy designing new things that I don't keep an eye on every single feedback that comes through. But we have spooky2reviews.com, the website where we put the video reports and written reports of people that are amazed with how the products perform and at a price point which kind of sounds a little bit crazy, or was crazy a few years ago until we entered the market. Now, we're quietly hoping that other suppliers also reduce their prices so they become a little bit more reasonable and less greedy. Hasn't quite happened yet, you know. Yeah, it's
So,
quite a big and tight. Sorry.
sorry, I cut across you there. Let me ask you, if somebody wanted one of your devices for eyesight, which would be the smarter choice for them to get the Spooky 2, or well, which of your many devices should they be thinking about for eyesight?
We've got a lot of devices. For eyesight, probably Mini Magic because it's got the two coils that you can place over each eye. We have our scalar device, which is fantastic. Have you got a scalar running in your house?
I haven't today, but I do have a Mini Magic that I can show people.
Oh, right. Okay.
There's a little tiny control unit and the little rings that you put between whatever part of the body you want to treat. Ever so easy.
Yes.
Very portable. Yeah,
So
great.
I'd probably, yeah. So having each of those coils, one over each eye, that could be a good solution. When you say eye problems, it's always wise to find the cause of a problem. It might be the eye, it might be a part of the eye that it could be an indication that an early stage glaucoma. It could be a detached retina. There's quite a few reasons why eyesight may be failing. It could be even the nerve, the optic nerve, the way it's becoming partially detached. I was talking to a person who had the retina was detached and semi-floating on the back of the eye. That was causing terrible issues with his eyesight. And he was using pulsed EMF, but he had only started using pulsed EMF. So I can't really say how I can't give a report. But yeah, I'd use those devices, I think. Let's see. Some people do contact across their temples. We don't recommend using our TENS pads across there because the face is very sensitive skin and there's a very important organ between your ears. But we heard reports back. There's two people actually who did it. They said they could see flashes of light. And they said that for them the results were really amazing actually. But it's too dangerous. In my opinion, it is too dangerous to do contact mode. So whether it's our device or or other people choose any other means of contact mode, I do consider it as unwise. Yeah.
And just to clarify, unwise using which piece of equipment?
Sorry, Clive, the TENS pads. If you stick TENS pads here.
Connected to which device?
In contact mode, it goes to the generator through a boost unit. We do have a low power port option in the boost, which was designed for colloidal silver production because colloidal silver it mustn't use high current if it's going to be quality colloidal silver. So it's got a very low current through that port. If you use the colloidal silver port, then it becomes microcurrent, microamps. And so at that point, I guess it's safe to use across your eyes like that. The fix, you don't need a lot of power to heal normally, especially when you're dealing with eyes. So you really want to be careful. So if you are absolutely adamant that you want to use contact mode, use the colloidal silver port, the low power port in Spooky Boost, connected to one of our generators.
Right, so I just wanted to be absolutely clear for people listening to this, so they don't get confused that we're talking about the generators, we're not talking about the pulsed electromagnetic frequency devices here.
No, well, those pulse EMF devices, you can put them anywhere. Cats love them. You put it down and the cat immediately jumps onto it. They seem to sense when something is healthy and they pounce on and it's hard to get them off again. But no, I've never heard of any harm being done with pulsed EMF. It's a very safe, very rewarding type of frequency application. If the waveform pattern is nice and sharp, and the pulse duration is tuned correctly, the results can be very startling, as you found with the person with Parkinson's. But that device would have been a very different type of device. The beamers, they are a very beautiful device, extremely powerful. Their pulses are very long. They could shoot nails out with the field that machine puts out. And so it works off different principles. The field, even though it's very strong, it doesn't enter the cells very easily because the field attack, which is the way the leading edge of the waveform as it's forming, is quite sloped. So it's still very, very effective, and I think it's a very good machine. Our machine does, it's got a more precise waveform at a much lower power level.
Well, that's excellent. Low power with PEMF, I think, is a brilliant way to go because you're absolutely safe, and the high power ones are, as you rightly say, quite high powered, effective. But I personally, I would probably go for a small one myself and save the money. And perhaps if somebody had the most urgent thing in the world, then one might want to spend lots of money and somehow target it. But for most of us, I would have thought your one is about perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's a good size. We've modeled the design and everything with around studies that have been performed on determining the optimum waveform, optimum power levels, and now we've extended the depth of penetration as well. So all of that just adds up to a machine that really does the job, and it's comfortable. So you can really sleep on it all the time and not feel the lumps that a lot of devices have.
Well, brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, John. That's really exciting. And I'll put a link below as to how they can get hold of you and buy a device. And look forward to speaking to you again in the very near future.
I do too. As I say, we've got new things on the boil all the time, and I'd love to introduce our next machine, which is really good, very good. It's exciting. So
I can tell you're itching to tell me, but I can wait. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's filling a niche in the market that isn't being filled yet. It's a device that everyone really needs. It'll be a few months from now because we've still got quite a bit of work ahead of us. But it's a good machine. It's exciting, but I can't tell you, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'll really get into trouble.
Oh, that's all right. But I mean, the pulse electromagnetic frequencies. I know that some of the big companies in the market have sold over 1 million products, and you don't sell a million products if it's not really, really good. So and I mean, the technology's been around for ages. It's such a proven, easy, straightforward thing. And at the end of the day, we're electrical beings, and if our cells are depleted of energy, electrical energy, we can't function properly. So you can pump a little bit in, and really that's all it takes. We just need to get healthy one cell at a time.
It's some people ask me, can I use a pulsed EMF mat while I'm doing this or doing that or taking this medication? Does it can I still do contact mode while I'm on the pulsed EMF mat, or be anywhere? And there's no bad effects from pulsed EMF. You can use it anywhere, anytime, and know that you're putting goodness into your body. You don't have to read up on the dangers on overdosing on a pulsed EMF field. It just doesn't happen. And there are people on this planet, you might find it's hard to believe, Clive, but there are people on this planet that do try and prevent people taking control over their own health. I know it sounds crazy, But there are people like this, and they still have not found one thing bad to say about pulsed EMF. So that says something, isn't it? And these guys, they'll pick on any little thing and say it'll kill you. But with pulsed EMF, they haven't found a thing. And as you say, we are electric, body electric. So it's tuned for the natural pulse of the earth. Your body is just receiving what it receives normally.
Or should be. So,
Should
people
be.
are stuck in. So
I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people are driving around in cars insulated from the planet with rubber wheels in a metal box, doing all sorts of things to magnetic frequencies. I mean, my car's got Bluetooth. I don't know what that's doing to me while I'm driving along, but it's certainly going to be affecting my normal cellular function. Anyway, so I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much, John. And
I thought your rambling was better than my rambling. I love being on your show, Clive. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. See you again soon.